Previously on this YouTube channel.
I think it's only fair that I get to challenge you back. What if you didn't get to buy any yeast to put in your beer?
I think what I'm going to do is take one of my favorite beers, Le Fin du Monde, which is a Belgian triple, and actually make my Belgian triple with their yeast. This is what happens when you do this. Don't put paper towels over, you're basically making a wild yeast starter. I successfully made a Le Fin du Monde starter. So we're gonna mill some grain tonight while I drink beer because I'm just stoked that this is finally working out. So we are going to make a 10-gallon batch of Belgian triple. So what I'm gonna do is ferment this first batch with my Le Fin du Monde yeast. I'm going to brew another 10-gallon of the exact same recipe, 5 gallons with the Belgian Ardennes and 5 gallons with the Abbey yeast. So that's how much 23 and 8 ounces of grain is. Don't dip your hand in the boiling water. Hey guys, welcome back. So as most of you know, I've been doing a challenge with Martin Keene of the Homebrew Challenge. So he's here today to tell me how I did.
I am so excited to try this. I can't wait.
Yeah, I am too. I think I've drank all of these beers, but I haven't compared them really. And I know I only sent you enough to be able to try them on camera, of course. Quick rundown, these are 3 different Belgian triples, all brewed the exact same. The only difference is that the yeast is different. So one of them is the Belgian triple I made with Le Fin du Monde yeast that I harvested from their bottles. Nice. Of course, it's the one that's all smeared. And then I also did a Belgian Ardennes yeast and a Belgian Abbey yeast. So Belgian Abbey is what I usually use, but that one was a little weird in the end, but we can get into that when we're actually drinking it. All right, this is what I have left of the Belgian Le Fin. There's definitely more of the others, but that one went to a party, so everyone seemed to like it at the party, so hopefully you like it.
That's all that's left from your keg from the party?
Yep.
Wow.
Not just one keg. I made 10 gallons of it.
That's crazy. Okay, your cans are beautiful. This was so great to receive these. Okay, let's see.
Okay, so we're starting with the Le Fin.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, look at the difference in color.
Huh. Yeah, this is really light golden.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you think of Le Fin du Monde, it's pretty light in itself. All I can say is it smells like a Belgian to me.
It's distinctive, isn't it? Okay, let's give this a try. Oh, I love that. I love that beer. A good Belgian triple. That's delicious.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite styles to make and drink. I made my first one up in Washington with my neighbors up there, and that keg was gone in a week, easy. And I think that one was 9%, so.
I think you're supposed to age some of these, and I've never really got very far with aging triples because they're too good.
No. Who's got time for aging? All you people who do barrel aged stuff and cask, I have no patience for that. I'm if I can't drink it within 2 weeks, I'm gonna be pissed.
So this has really got the sweetness you'd expect from a Belgian triple, but it's got that light mouthfeel as well, which is just such a wonderful combination. It's delicious.
Yeah. Mine's not very carbonated because I just put it in a mason jar, but I think I lost a little bit of the carbonation in the cans as well. Out of the keg, it's definitely real carbonated, especially since it's been sitting around. I think I brewed it probably a month ago now. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty close to Le Fin, personally.
Totally agree. Oh, that's great. That's really great. And that's just from the yeast is literally just from the dregs from some bottles. Nuts.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts that you can do that? I was
Yeah.
like so surprised how like close it came out, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, they condition with different yeast than they brew with or ferment with. So I was like, oh, like it might just turn out to be a really sweet, dry, weird beer. But I think some of the Le Fin yeast definitely carried over.
Now, in the video where you were harvesting the yeast, you originally started with these big bottles and then you ended up using a smaller one. How many of these smaller bottles did you need to get enough to harvest?
I just got a 6-pack. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Bevmo had it, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can drink a 6-pack of Le Fin pretty easily.
So so get the 6-pack, down the 6-pack, and then you have the dregs from 6 bottles which you combined to
Yeah, exactly.
added it to the DME. Wow, that's fantastic. And so you had the alcohol percentage on this as 8.2, so clearly there was enough yeast to finish the job.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, my starter was half a gallon, so it's hard to not have enough yeast when you're making half-gallon starters. Okay, do you want to move on to another yeast?
Yes.
So I personally prefer the Ardennes. So let's go to that one,
Okay.
because I've got a whole thing to say about the other one.
Oh yeah, definitely noticeably darker.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
So I think the reason is some of the Belgian candy sugar actually burnt on the heating element in the claw hammer. So my tip will just be like, definitely dissolve it, or, you know, just like smush it up better, I guess, because I was throwing huge chunks of the candy sugar in. The first batch, I definitely crushed up the candy sugar better, and it seemed to work better. So yeah, these might have a little bit of a caramel flavor to them, given
So
the
just
burnt.
to be clear, these are the exact same ingredients apart from the yeast, except
Yeah, it's the same recipe, everything.
yeah,
It's just the
so
burning.
the difference in color is literally just the candy sugar that's maybe caramelized a little.
Yeah, I think so. But I've also made the same recipe with like the Abbey yeast, and it I think it was darker. So I don't know if it's something about the Le Fin yeast too doing it.
Yeah.
Because I've done other different yeast brews like with like the exact same wort, and the colors can be very different. It's kind of crazy, but this is like significant.
Completely different aroma too.
Oh man, I'm getting like a ton of alcohol on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the Belgian-y estery stuff going on.
This is more the esters, more of the sweetness. This one's a little more on the alcoholic side, I think.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, what is this one? That one's actually a little lower. It does have like a caramelness to it, which is not style.
That is really, really
They're
different.
completely different.
Yeah, really different.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what's happened, isn't it? It's that burning of the candy sugar has made such a difference.
Yeah. What would you say, like, since you've done the whole like 99 beers, what do you think that this would kind of be more classified as? Because you don't have the esters that are like so pivotal in a Belgian beer. Like, I don't think I would call this a Belgian, really.
I'm not really getting any sort of. You've used Belgian candy sugar and you've used Belgian yeast, but it doesn't taste like a Belgian beer. So I'm not sure how I'd categorize this, but to me, I'm just kind of blown away the difference between these two, considering it's the same grain bill. I mean,
It's got like a strong ale kind of vibe, I think. Just like, high alcohol.
Now this one, well, so speaking of that, this one is actually
It's like 2 points lower.
Yeah, 8.1%.
1? Yeah.
So more or less the same as the other one, which was 8.2. But yeah, this does have a sort of a bit of a boozier taste to it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
I don't know.
Brewing's
So far, number one is absolutely.
Oh,
my
LaFin's
favorite.
gonna win, hands down. Like the Abbey yeast is actually my least favorite. I think it carried over the burnt flavor the most. I just poured this one out of the keg. I actually still have some of this because we're like, we don't know if we like it. The aroma's a lot better though.
So tell me, the Abbey yeast. Where did this one come from?
The Abbey yeast, it's a Monde. So one of the dry packet things. I typically use dry yeast just because it's easier to store.
Yeah.
And I think the Belgian Ardennes is a YEAST, I believe. It was liquid.
Okay, so another different aroma again. I'm getting a bit more of a floral aroma in this one.
Yeah, this one's aroma, I don't know. It's so weird because when I first tried the Ardennes, I was like, oh, this tastes Belgian. But now it doesn't. It's aging strangely. This one is like almost like a florally caramel.
Yeah, the floral aroma carries over into the taste too.
Do you get the smoke taste on that though?
Yeah, there is some. Yes.
Yeah.
Just at the end, there is.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's like I made like a smoked beer a long time ago, and I hated it. And this like brings me back. I'm like not a huge smoke fan. So yeah, I mean, it's more subtle than it was, I think, before. I think it is dropping out a bit, but yeah, it's definitely got some stuff happening. So don't burn your sugar. That's what we're learning today.
Yeah, so the color again is similar to the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much identical. Yeah, but it definitely. Where do you think that floral sort of characteristic is coming from? Is that from the yeast?
I mean, it's got to be the yeast. I feel like the Abbey is pretty fruity yeast compared to like super floral Belgian, which I think is why I like it, because the floralness can remind me of like a Hefeweizen wheat situation, and I'm not a huge fan of those. Like esters, I really only want them in a Belgian, and even then I want them pretty muted. But I think that's why I like this yeast, and if it wasn't for the smoke, I think I would love this beer.
The smoke is quite subtle though. Like, had you not mentioned it, I don't know if I'd have picked it up. So maybe it's kind of working its way out.
I think I'm really sensitive to it just because of that one beer. I'm just like, never again.
I've been through some really smoky, like bonfire beers, and there's no forgetting those.
Yeah. Oh, and I made that. I actually made a beer over a campfire before, and it's got that vibe. And that was an IPA, which is like, smoke had no place in it. But it's like we didn't know what to expect, and it just kind of happened, and we're like, oh, weird. But some people liked it, some people weren't into it.
Yeah.
I'm just so picky now. I'm just like, it's like when you learn more and more about beer, you are like, I'm not gonna drink a beer I don't like.
Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just overall, I'm just floored how different they all are. You've got the sort of classic Belgian triple sweetness, light mouthfeel, like, just like perfect example of a triple. Then you have this one, which is so different in color, in aroma, in taste, and then this third one with the floral properties, which is quite pleasant. I mean, probably not what you'd expect in a triple, but again, it's like pretty cool.
And what's surprising to me too is that like the Ardennes yeast, it doesn't have that smoke. It's like, but
No.
those were the same wort. So I made the Belgian Abbey and the Belgian Ardennes from the same wort. Same brew day, everything, and only one of them has the smoke. Which it's like, what? I don't know if this is like possible, but I'm wondering if maybe I transferred the Abbey first. So it got the like bottom that was sitting with the like smoky, charred heating element, and then like all the wort that was on top was for the Ardennes. Who knows, man?
Oh, so you think the smoke character from this came from the, I mean, it makes sense, right? From the burning of the candy sugar.
100%. Yeah.
And then that's kind of caught on the bottom of the wort. So that's the first stuff you're drawing off. Good theory.
That's all I can imagine happen.
So yeah,
Who knows?
I feel like this just goes to show, like, you know, I'll spend time thinking about what percentage of which specialty grain I'm going to add and whatnot, and just to make it the, you know, the perfect beer. And actually, there's so many other variables that go into it than just the basic beer, and even the brewing method. You know, you've got two beers here that have got completely different aromas and tastes, and they came from the same wort. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. I like when I went to White Labs in San Diego and over in Asheville, I'm just always blown away by their experiments, and that's like kind of what inspired me to do stuff like this. Because this is my favorite thing to do now that I have the 20-gallon system, because it's easy to make 10 gallons of wort and just split it up in 2 fermenters and see what happens.
yeah. Right. Yeah, that's very cool. So I would say that you have more than exceeded the challenge by coming up with three beers, 3 completely different beers.
I'm an overachiever.
Yes, really. But no, what an absolutely fascinating experiment.